now we're about to get pretty trippy. Okay, I'm not going to lie to you. These ones just take practice. So stick with me. But say we start with x equals cosine of, 5 cosine of t, and y equals 2 sine of t. And we start trying to solve one of them for t. So with this one, we're going to divide by 5. And, oh, I didn't even write my step. What is wrong with me? Okay, step 1. We're going to solve for the trig functions. Okay, so we're going to divide by 5 on both sides and get x over 5 equals cosine t. But we really can't get t by itself. So we're going to do something a little different this time. It says solve for the trig functions instead of solve one equation for t. So it's a little bit different. We're going to try to get the trig functions by themselves. So we're going to have another equation over here, y over 2 equals sine of t. Now what we're going to do is even weirder. Because we can't do any substitution into one another. We're actually going to square both equations and create a Pythag identity. Okay, so here's how we do it. We're going to square both sides. So this equation is going to become x squared over 25 equals cosine squared t. And this one's going to become y squared over 4 equals sine squared of t. And we'll notice we have a cosine squared of t and a sine squared of t. If we add those together, we know they equal 1 from our Pythagorean identity. So what we can do is add these two equations together, left sides and right sides, and we get x squared over 25 plus y squared over 4 equals sine squared t plus cosine squared t. And that eliminates the t, because that equals 1 over there. Ta-da! So it's really kind of crazy, but it works. Okay, it's perfectly legal. Now the only thing we have to take a note of is that the domain is restricted. Up here, x oscillates between -5 and 5. We know that because the amplitude's 5. And then y oscillates between -2 and +2. So we have to make note of that down here, that x values can only be greater than -5 and less than 5, and y values can only be greater than 2 and less than 2. So these are your restrictions. But that's it. So those are our 3 examples in our foldable. Now let's do a couple in our ISA.